So we dined there. There used to be a Japanese restaurant also called Megu. Megu also, there are not many Megus are there in the world. So there also the APC used to be very high. And then the Leela's signature Indian restaurant, it's called Jamavar. We dined there also. So what I'm saying is, in 2011, I went and joined Leela as a restaurant manager, because the reason why I moved out of Taj is basically like, I was working as an assistant restaurant manager, and then I got an opportunity to work as a restaurant manager, so I took up the opportunity with Leela. And the Leela Kovalam, it was a fabulous hotel, fabulous property. Like, if you go there, if you see in Google also, you'll see one of the most beautiful resorts of the country, most beautiful resorts. And if not in the world, I think in world also, I think in top most 15 or 20, resorts may say, one will be as Leela Kovalam. It used to be a 65 acres property. It's not like a city hotel, like, where you have one building, and everything is around that only. It used to be like spread around 65 acres of area. There used to be lawns, there used to be peacocks, there used to be like so many things. And the hotel has you always can Google and see the hotel of images of the hotel. One part of the hotel, the club rooms, it used to be on a cliff. You have cliff means like you have the sea, and then you have a small hill or something like that on next to the sea, and those rooms are situated on that hill. And it's such beautiful, believe me, when I went there, I went to one of the club rooms and I just peeped out like from the window, and I felt like, being in a ship, in a cruise, like deep down the water is hitting the waves are hitting the shore, the stones. It's beautiful, amazing. So those are one of the categories rooms. Then we had something called beach view rooms, which is like, you have rooms like, from where you can see beach, and then there used to be pavilion or garden view rooms or something like that. And I'm telling you, all of you can just go through the Google and see how beautiful the hotel is. So I joined there as a restaurant manager, in charge of one restaurant which had almost 170 covers. Means at one time the restaurant can accommodate 170 people. And resort, what happens in the resorts? It's unlike the corporate hotels. In the corporate hotels, there used to be a lot of single travelers. Like people come for corporate business and, a lot of many things. So the occupancy, like, even if the hotel is running around 90% occupancy, the number of guests or the house count of the hotel will not be that great in the city hotels, right? Suppose for an example, 90 rooms are occupied in a city hotel. So 90 rooms means what? Like, around maybe at the max, maybe, there will be few rooms which will be on double occupancy. There will be few rooms which will be with the families and all everything. So total number of people staying in the hotel, it will be like around 140 or 150 at the max, not more than that. But in the resort, it does not happen like that. In the resort, what happens? People go for leisure. People go for relaxation. They go for like, they do not go there for meetings. There are meetings also happens, but usually in the resorts, the occupancies are always double or triple. So although we had around 183 rooms in Leela Kovalam, the number of, and most of the times the hotel used to, the resort used to have always, more than 90% occupancy and all. During the season, though, it is always like that. And there used to be a lot of groups also. So 183 rooms, just imagine, every day there will be around, 400 guests for breakfast. Because most of the rooms, breakfasts are included in the room package. Right? So what happens every day, like, I used to be a team, I used to like, be the restaurant manager of a team of almost 30 people, almost. It's not only that restaurant, I used to look after, there are two other bars also, like one is the regular bar, and the other used to be called Sky Bar, which is to be on the sea and, open to the sky. So I had a set of like, two assistant managers reporting to me, and I used to be the restaurant manager full in charge. And then I had a team of almost 30 people, because there used to be bartender, there used to be bar staffing and the restaurant staffing. So during the breakfast, you will not believe, like, I used to be in the restaurant, and since 400 people are having breakfast, just imagine how things are going to be. I used to allocate, I used to look at the allocations of the duty rotas and all everything. So I used to keep one of my assistant manager in that live stations only. Like there used to be one live stations, which from where we used to give the, the egg preparations and the dosas and all everything from that live station, waffles and all. So there used to be a manager who used to be in charge of that, because there are so many guests, we should not be missing out any of the guest orders. We used to have one staff and one trainee or somebody as a runner, because what happens, the assistant manager stays there, he ensures that, okay, all the orders are coming on time and the orders are getting delivered on time. Like, it should not happen like that one order came now and for an egg order, maybe the order which came later than that order should not go first. It should go the first come, first out kind of basis, first in, first out, some kind of a thing. So this is what, the manager is to ensure, and the runner is to go to the tables to deliver those orders and explain it to the guest. Whenever we go to the tables, we teach the trainees, we teach the new associates that whatever you are serving, always speak out, always say that. If you're serving a masala omelette, if you're serving an egg white omelette, so when you're serving it to the guest, please speak out. Tell them that, sir, here is your masala omelette, or here is your egg white omelette. That is how, you avoid any kind of miscommunication. There's a possibility the guest must have ordered for an egg white omelette, and if you do not go and say, maybe you must have served him a masala omelette. So when you say that, sir, this is a masala omelette, then the guest might say, no, I had asked for an egg white omelette. So, this kind of things can be avoided. So that was a great experience again in the Leela Kovalam, as the restaurant name used to be the Terrace. So it used to be like a terrace. It has got an infinity pool, and that entire Arabian Sea you can see from the restaurant. And the pool, if you are being on the pool, you will see that it's like infinity and huge. Like there used to be big ships used to go from that sea. So that was a great exposure for me. I walked there managing. It was a challenge almost every day, but every day I look forward. And Kerala, I moved to Kerala from Chennai at that time. So Kerala at that time, I'll tell you, in 2011 and all, even now also, it's a pretty beautiful state. A lot of greeneries, a lot of water bodies around, and less pollution. There's not much of traffic on the roads or anything of that sort. Come. So you, so you're on time. Glad to meet you. All well? I actually took some time. Okay, so in Kerala, what used to happen is that time, I told that I used to look forward to go for walk every day in the morning. Very honest. And there are so many guests.
Can I request everyone to be silent, please?
I spent almost 2 years there as working as a restaurant manager, and then I was promoted as an assistant food and beverage manager there. So I worked there, and then in between, I think the food and beverage manager, he was moved to Leela Mumbai at that time. So then, I think almost for 2 months, there was nobody at that time heading the food and beverage department. I was, taking care of that food and beverage department, and we had a staff strength of almost 88 in food and beverage. So we had that. I worked there after getting my promotion. I worked there almost for 1 year, and then I got an opportunity to head a team in Le Méridien Kochi. Le Méridien Kochi, it's again it's in a different, in Kerala only, but it had got a very beautiful convention center. It was a huge convention center, and it had almost 95,000 square feet of areas of banqueting. So we had lawns, we had the parking areas, we had banquet halls. One banquet hall used to be almost 14,000 square feet of area. So that can accommodate, we had 2,000 people functions also there, 2,500 people functions also. So I was heading the conventions operations there. That was in 2015, and great learning from there as well. The biggest thing which I take back from that stint in Le Méridien Kochi was handling medical conferences, large-scale medical conferences. In 2016 December, we had 2 back-to-back large-scale medical conferences. One was of CSI, that was the Cardiovascular Society of India. So they had almost 5,000 cardiologists, the heart doctors, 5,000 doctors at one time in one hotel attending a conference, a global seminar. Just imagine, the entire city was sold out because we had only around 225 rooms, so all the rooms were sold out. And then all the surrounding hotels were occupied by all these doctors. But since we had the facility of conducting these large conferences, so the conferences took place in our hotel. And I was leading the team, being as an operations manager there. So you'll not believe, 3 days continuously. Today there's a lunch for 4,500 people. then dinner for around 3,500 people. The next day lunch for 5,000 people, dinner for around 3,000 people. Again the next day lunch is for around 2,500 people and there's no dinner. This is what the schedule used to be. So I never used to go home. I used to stay in the hotel itself, all these 3 days. Great experience, because when you lead a team for this large event, there has to be at least 200 odd people I used to manage, 200 odd staff. I'm talking about that included different trainees from different outlets from the same hotel, trainees from different colleges, because for those large scale conferences we call them casual trainees. Then we called up support from different other hotels of Marriott and Star Routes and all part of it. So a lot of staff came from there. So altogether there are approximately 180 to 200 staff we had to manage. Because just imagine 4,500 people dining, having lunch. And who's going to manage? So we used to allocate the different. So this is allocate different way, and that's how we got this done. And it's that lunch is over, and then does not mean that okay the job is over. You'll have to set it for dinner, and the dinner mostly used to be with cocktails and drinks. Just imagine. So it's a great experience. I had learned a lot of things. How to manage large team, how to manage large scale of conferences and everything. So that was there 3 days, and then there was 2 days gap in between. There is to be another for orthopedic.